boy fe anuncho drolo ke mobo na lo manche kujumo gbile no le peji mo ni woja le non pe ngo bi oyele ke bo mo fe ke jo ombi Allah wa ke kan de plike jo mo edromo ke mo na moshin ke bo hin nyelo ni jigbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ke me fe ni wale na she Islam ni mene gbine Islam e ba sho mo bi ombi Allah wa ke hin woto fa e wo mo je hin wo ye mo ye e ha wo shifi mo je lulu e won pale fa meni iba nwa me isha ikia me Ramadan yo na mi ina omobo na ike wafatai jomo ni yomi ihande kwa bablawo gbeke wulu na mi nchi ifi nyoji akpe na noji afi nyuma ipa nyoke itenke ese nyoji igwe ni wochola akele letter kedere nyumbo ana omobo ni ike na kan gbeke idruwo ikakwe wo isha hewo ni me ni ba ha jo mo na ba ma me ike waka futa mai ke ba chewo hwe echewo be mi ni woni chuma ese hin keje ale no energy wona gbe Ramadan on bile ni ye hin emiachi na ese hin fi Ramadan fen wo fi ni ji ene hu lululu e ha wo shifimu ni ihe wo hemo ke eli adamoshi to ni ke wo sa afi Ramadan ba ni na wo wonye wo fi wo hinma ni wo tuni tuni papa yeme fi boni wo tun afine na agbene Islam e jole ngamja assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh no jinga mo ninke nga tuibulo efen efia ke nyi se o chile wo ke wo nkwani bi ni abanya tun ye na gbe nyuma ke na gbe ke nyuma ni yo Ramadan nyoneme wobakwe ekome ake ekoji itikaf ni afio ni wobaha wonyumbo jamo baada moshin ojugba agbene wobaha wo Quran kanemo ifa ye neke benemi agbene nu wobafi duwa woke duwa soto itemba nene wokun wose wa botemi feme komeni ne se audio na bia ko wo no ni ntwan ake comprehensive duwa ti amba fi ten shinchon boni gbeno na amba achon ni amba na duwa na ka mechi amebenke ame imam fuwe amebi ame alo yo audio mi denje ko mo twinshin mi aka wi mo alo ya shiko mo twinshin ba anye blofoko transcribe ba anye ni o maduwa ko ni bohunje Ramadan yo na me peshi bi fen bi o ba anye ni ofi na kan duwa o ba kwa wi mo enyokolo itenko lo ni chunwe enyokolo itenko no ba anye ni wo chunko na agbene mmene ichue wo ba no ye neken na gbe nyuma lo gbeke nyuma ni ishe Ramadan yo mi ekoji ni wo ba na ohiafo ya mobo ya ke nikase mo ko mepo no wona ye na hele menji be me ni homon yeboe ni kuman yeboe ona noni me ni beko ametwon me ebeno ni baayi ebeno ni baano noni etwon me bona afi ni nu ato twihe no kase ejuno fe mu bona afi ni me ni beko onye ofi ejuno o ha me no ha isa ko ba aka ke o teshimanke no ye ni gbe o mi ye ni gbe ko bona afi ni homo aka yemi ni taflache ko ye ni manke ya shi time ni agbiliona bia ne ko kwe based on Accra time tomo 6869 agbiliona ni ke okwe time na ke hioma o hinma over 12 hours 13 to 14 hours and ko ye ni manke ni tole ba anye hu hia hu 14 hours lo dabi definitely oba no homo he shin ni kase mo komeni yo jeji bona afi ni oli me ni be ko eno ni mi na ametwon ko ni gbokegbe na onye ni ofi ejuno ni chumo ko mehu ni oba anye wo twu ye neken na gbeke nyuma ke gbe nyuma ni yo Ramadan yo na me ekoji wa salawat ni nyombo jomo ni wo bio ke ha nyombo gbalo ni jigbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wo ba hani ifa babao hini ana mwene husuhane ni gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam echon wake between asr ke magribe bi ku yeje ngle twa ku yeje ni ke wo fi duao wo binyumbo noni wota wo ke wo hebani wonde ba hye no yo tamaboni be me ni wo ya school ke ishe fi no ba agbe school na wi oblofo kwa ke o finish hard je meji hi ni wo sha no ne ishe ba fi bi edwe ishe ba fi bi enumo eja ke kenke ishe ba fi bi edwe lo bi enumo. Everything is dependent on the sighting of the crescent. Ke jingmena aka ananyon chile ndoko bendo ba fi ke ogbiku na no na ko gbi enumo enyo ke na hu, which is the minimum me bo hi enyomo ewo bi edwe lo gbi enumo leche ni woke ba agbe na nye ha wo shan wo he afole shan na iba afi se na mo e ha we bie iba afi se na mo e ha we wo se na wi agbe ne mwene ho ake ifi so wa ejigbi srotoko nna kan gbile ake bi onyumbo jomo aha agbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As a matter of fact, tamboni ni lilo ya kumeke wakeje so gbeke kenya so wa hun ke ashiso ni unue ba anyoshi ni magriba ba eji be kuni ke woke bi nyumbo jomo wo ha gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya nale mana ke ko ba hadith mi pode nje gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ke wo bi nyumbo jomo komi wo hale nyumbo fiole shi nyuma ehawo ejo nyuma obi nyumbo hale nyumbo fiolo ha ehabo obi oha ohale efiola akpe ehabo ni keji obi akpe ohale wose keji nyumba asmo kele ba anye konko kon ke ba boti aljanna ni ji paradise wo jomo ni yo ke ha woni yene ke bi na ni ekpekuse eyemi aka eche ba afa gbi edwe lo gbi enu mo no ba agbe na shiko ye ni namo no ye visa omwe obanye ni oya maka ni oya fi umra na fi Ramadan nyomi ni me baba o sheminyi so chile me kumeke ho ameya me kumeke ho gba ambashi me kume pushin jufo ne ekpekuse keji oye shika ni oyo visa omwe especially me ni hi 1 year tourist visa obanye ni oya ejake umra le metwa kuku pe mi agbena moni fi umra ye Ramadan nyomi eye jomo kenyumbo hie eye jomo tunumoko ni efi hajj ewone keni chumo ne huye ni wobanye wo take advantage ni wo chuna kan ni chumo ni eba fi se na mo agbene ken mune ken yichu ne na hela cheme ye wotin obi kwa ameshi wonu ameheche nyojin babao afi babao meko mepo ye ni jasande ku iba nike awi na chiameta dan wo kaya me wo boko modin eja ke wo se na gbegbile no ton bo ni wi mu eko ke wa ke nbo ba ka ko be me ni heyi o baslami o nyumbo te feten no heyi bo ata na anyumo ke be me no nyemi heyi o ya slale nkwen o ba na me ye mase so manyeme ne keni chumo ne wo fo chumo ni efe shigbe mo ihawo wo ha wa hin ado ni watchwene. So just to wrap up on what we said the previous week, we said spiritual retreat or itikaf is one of the things we can do in the last 10 days and nights of Ramadan. We also said there was a need for us to increase our worship and servitude to Allah. We also spoke about increasing our recitation of the Quran, because there is no better time to recite the Quran than in the month of Ramadan and in the last 10 days and nights of Ramadan. We also spoke about doing a lot of supplications. We spelled out at least some 3 supplications that we should all learn and then recite them. Because of time, I am not going to repeat them, but I'm sure if we get the previous audio, we'll get to know what those 3 supplications are. Today, by way of addition, before I move to the topic for today, is that let us increase our empathy for the poor. Let us increase our empathy for the poor. You know, one of the lessons that is learned in Ramadan is that you feel the pangs of hunger, and it makes you appreciate better the conditions that those who do not have to endure, have to undergo because they don't have. So it is not about eating to your fill or eating to your full, as we say it, and then you don't feel hunger. But the question is, you are even fasting for close to 14 hours. Are you sure if you eat at dawn, that food will be in the system for all this while? Of course not. Eat something that is moderate, that is appropriate, that is necessary to sustain you, so that you feel the pangs of hunger. You understand what those who do not have to undergo, so that it will make you charitable. So in these 10 days and nights, these last 10 days and nights of Ramadan, let us increase our empathy towards the poor. Again, this is an opportunity for us to send a lot of salawat, blessings upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And fortunately for us, today happens to be a Friday, which is very auspicious when it comes to doing such acts. Again, in yet another tradition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was reported to have said that if we supplicate and we beseech Allah's blessings for him once, Allah gives us 10 in return. If we do 10 for him, Allah gives us 100 in return. If we do 100, Allah gives us 1,000 in return. And if we do 1,000 times of salawat for him, inshallah, we are going to walk with him shoulder to shoulder to enter al-Jannah. So that is the reward that we get anytime we do the salawat. So let us increase it in this period of Ramadan. Also, the fact that today is Friday, according to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is a period, there is a time between Asr and Maghrib on Friday where supplications are answered. Let us take advantage of that period and supplicate abundantly to Allah. Whatever needs that we have, let us put it before Allah. Let us ask Allah, if this is our last Ramadan on earth, in His sight, in His judgment, it should be the best Ramadan we have had so far. And if this is not the last, but you are fortunate, we'll be fortunate to witness another Ramadan, Allah should let us witness it when our iman, our faith is even stronger than it is now. And then, of course, there are other things we can supplicate and ask Allah for all those things. So it is also an opportunity for us within these last 10 days and nights to perform Umrah. It is not too late yet. Although we are barely left with 4 to 5 days to bring the fasting, the month of Ramadan, to an end, it is not too late yet to perform Umrah, provided you have your visa and you have your plane fare or the money to pay for your ticket that will take you there and back. It is not too late yet, because Umrah is performed within some few minutes to some few hours, and you can do it even on the last day of Ramadan. You can do it now, between now and then. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was reported to have said that the reward, the blessings for the Umrah, that is the lesser pilgrimage that is performed in the month of Ramadan, if Allah accepts it, it is as if you have performed Hajj. That is the reward that you get. So it is not too late yet for you and I. If we already have the visa and we have the means to fly out, let us perform Umrah for us to get that reward. And finally, what I want to say on this particular subject is that let us visit the sick and the elderly. Unfortunately, for most of us, we hardly visit the sick. You see, the blessings that you get when for every step you take towards the visitation of the sick, and the fact that angels close to 70,000 supplicate to Allah for your forgiveness because you are visiting someone that is sick. Most of us are unaware of that, or even if we are, due to laziness and what we may consider as other equally important commitments, it makes us give up this responsibility. But when it comes to the rights of a Muslim upon another Muslim, it includes visiting them when they are sick. Unfortunately, most of us have shirked this responsibility. Again, there is a tradition that talks about the fact that on Yom Al-Qiyamah, Allah is going to say, when I was sick, you did not visit me. And people are going to say, Allah, but you Allah, how do you fall sick for us to visit you? Then you say, when such and such person was sick, if you had visited him, you would have found me with him. Unfortunately, we do not do this a lot, or even if we do, just on rare occasions. So this is an opportunity for you and I. There are people amongst us for a very long time, for weeks, for months, for years, we have not heard of them. Sometimes it is only when a discussion is going on, then we remember them, because their names may come up. That is the only time we remember them. Then even after that conversation, we do nothing about it, which is very, very bad. So this is an opportunity for you and I to visit the sick and the elderly amongst us. Now let us look at what we want to talk about today. When I want to Eid, ke agbene Zakaatul Fitr, means one inke Zakaatul Fitr achon. Zakaatul Fitr yuemo enyo ni achale zakat ke al-Fitr. Kake zakat be noko ni chuo noko hi. Noko ni ke noya shwelemo yifaleba. Ona kake zakat Arabic yuemo noko ni iba chu noko hi. Lo iba ha nakani ifale ba ya mwenfiboni eji. Noko ni ke shwelemo ba no jino ni achola ke zakat ye Arabic wimon. Nike ake al-Fitr itamo boni ke wo hinma ke shegbeke wo gbeli owona ni wo kwa ake wo mfi iftar na agbelemu. Nike wiemo al-Fitr ke iftar fin je Arabic wiemo kome neji futuru. Futuru neji tamo oya kashin owo GHCBGHAC ekon klen ni ojio ni blofo mi achola ke breakfast noji future ewo. In other words, ke ake Zakaatul Fitr al-Fitr ke iftar fin je future ni twan ke ohima hu ni ogbelo na ni ayo noji no na achola ke iftar lo al-Fitr. Shike oke Zakaatul Fitr achon zakat ohiafo atoko ni awo bemi ni agbima hinle na bi nyoman enyokene hu lo gbi nyoman eten bonafi ni akechu ma hinlehe bonafi ni jomo ni yo mahile mi ehwele eyamwen fiboni eji tamboni ni lelo ha wole ka wonsole we noko nu ochola ke sujudu sahu eji min sole ihie ipa noko no inshi noko ye solemon lo nke noko ifata solemon nin soliohi min chon salat tomo iba gbenoni machon ni nke ba sa ni ke tomo ne bona fe ni jomo ni yo solemon mi manale emuwe no jino ni achola ke sujudu sahu ni be pie ochola ke o badi ke kabli na kan no ma hinle ni hiongmane iya wie moko ni isa ni mawi iya kwenduku ni isa ni makwe iya nye moko ni isa ni mafanakan na ne efi shigbe mo ehami eha jomo ni isa ke manna ye ma hile mi etofa ye gbekono tema fiten mawu bona fe ni jomo manale ni eyemu noji zakat fitr ne ni iafio to sujudu sahu ehawo ye wo ma hile mi bona fe ni keton enkome eba shigbe mo enkome eba ye wo ma hile mi wonyeni wo kewoje. So today we want to look at two things: Zakaatul Fitr and then Eid related issues. There are two words here, Zakat and al-Fitr, and that is the Zakaatul Fitr we are talking about. So if you talk about Zakat, you are talking about something that cleanses something or it purifies it. If you talk about Zakat, you are talking about something that leads to an increase in an expansion of something. That is the Zakat. And al-Fitr, we are told, you see, even as we are fasting, when the sun sets and it is time for us to break our fast, we eat to break the fast. We call it iftar. So al-Fitr and iftar, they all come from the same root word in Arabic, which is futur. So technically speaking, it is like you are talking about the zakat that is paid at the time of breaking the fast, but not breaking the fast as we do on a daily basis, but breaking the fast as in you have fasted for 29 or 30 days and you have brought your fasting to an end. The zakat that is paid at the end of fasting for a period of 29 or 30 days, that is what is known as the Zakaatul Fitr. So what does it do? It cleanses you, it purifies you, and it makes up for the shortfall in your fasting. As the scholars have told us, when it comes to the issue of salat, there is something that is known as sujudu sahu, that is the prostration of forgetfulness. Even as you are performing your salat, you could add something to your salat. You could omit something in your salat. If you do that, how do you correct it? There is some additional prostration that is performed depending on whether there was an omission or whether there was an addition in your salat. That is the sujood sahu. So it makes up for the shortfall in your salat. In the case of fasting, it is the Zakaatul Fitr that makes up for the shortfalls we might have experienced by way of our fasting, so that the blessings, the reward thereof will be intact and nothing will go away. That is the essence of this Zakaatul Fitr. It was Zakaatul Fitr ne namoji money isake e was Zakaatul Fitr. Zakaatul Fitr mo femo ni mo muslim ni taflache eyin kanle shi ojogba mo odehe ni Jew nyon ni Jew shibiabo ni muslim ni nu ni Jew yo ni Jew onupa ni Jew gbeken Jew Zakaatul Fitr ne emu nakaimo ni asumuake abawe ne dani ayasole wo ene wo ni lelo eke obanye ni owo gbikome lo gbi enyo dani ayasole ke o se igbala shikra bini abasole bo mode yake obawo dani oyasole ni keji uwe mo femo ni yo oshishi ni bu ulole bu ukwole obawo nike zakat fitri ne uhale owokola ke oyenga medwe oyenga meten oyenga menyo oyenga kome boji mo no lo me na efen oye bi nyoma panyo pawo enumo eten ekome enyo ameyoshi boji mo no lo ami o follow ehunye boji mo no okwa ami o me na efen ni okwa ami obaji zakat fitri obaji ye ogba ami do baji ye amehu amegbe ami ni nilelo epote no ne ame ke ka eme ni yo shishin wokola ke onga ewetele ehie ho dani aya soli ide ni nyumodromo na onga epleke shishwe bile ni afo lo biye na afo ke hajini aka afo na kan bile lo na kan biye dani solemo bano ni boji moni oba akwa amehewo oba ji ye na kan bile lo na kan biye hu oba ji ya megba amekaka ke enele fresh baby ni bewo ifata he meni nko mu dabi ji na kan ji boni eyole. So upon whom is Zakat Fitr incumbent? It is incumbent upon every sane Muslim. Every sane Muslim. Whether that person is a free Muslim or a slave. Whether the person is a male or a female. Whether the person is an adult or a minor. It is obligatory upon all these people for them to pay. The one who takes care of himself will pay for himself or herself and any dependents on him or her. The person will pay on their behalf. And what is the essence of that payment? It is to ensure, as I indicated earlier, that it cleanses your fasting for you. It makes up for the shortfalls that may have occurred on your part. And also to ensure that the poor will have something to eat on the day of Eid, so that they do not necessarily have to beg on that day before they can get something to eat. That is not that, I mean, that is the reason why we are paying the Zakat Fitr, to ensure that people do not have to beg. I mean, Muslims do not have to beg on a joyous day such as Eid before they can eat. So if you have more than what you need, what to satisfy your basic needs for that day, then you have to pay the Zakat Fitr. It was Zakat Fitr ne koye ni namo ni fi boni hiba hiabo Eid bile emobo ni sani o ni yintu ejije na etu onwa ahile he habo keke shibona afi ni taflache meni be kwe Eid bile ama hwen ama hiashi ama bani dani ambana noni ambaye ewo mini akejio Zakat Fitr ne ni eni ni ajio yena kaima no noji noni akejio Zakat Fitr ne kewo ba hadise mi obana ke tamar date noji no na mekejio ke bali ke ni bi data eme won ye wo shitra mo na eme mini ni afon yeli ye Ghana ne ayo mo wa wo yu abele wo yu gari wo yu wheat ke ni bi ene me fin obanye ni ojie ye mi wo ko bi ake bo hamaje na kan bi mona ko ba bia ke wo ni bi ne na achita na ja mento ne mamu bi ne na ko ni maba Eid Solomon ke higbeji anoto ko ba bia ke o ande ba anye ni GHCBGHAC sunna ji ufane boto ojugba sunna ji ni akejio GHCBGHAC no na akejio sunna ji ni ajio yejeme onini koko enyo ne kocha na kan edwe ubaji ye ugba mi ni oba na keke obue onne enyo ne no kecha na kan edwe eba anye fitumo olonka kome lo ehye no ko bibio ni eba afi olonka kome na kan obaji ye ugba mi wo ke abelie oji na kan ye ugba mi ke me fen ni yo shishi no kwa ni tafla che gare ho ya aji na kan ni ekwe omo oyaji na kan pepepe obaji yo gba mo ba bia ke ande ba anye feel shikalo wokola ke ni bi na je okwa afonyo jibo no ye ni bi na momo ni okaji lo ekwo ho ekomomo ni oyaka no kaji shihemo ya he amlo na ni lelo ke ekwe bomo na no ya hala abelie kefo abelie tafla che shikani ke ba bela abelie denche ekobe ke koko itawo ne ehu na kan gbile ju itawo echi bankun ju akli ji itawo efe ju shikande ke wa afi ina me na efe ekobe tete poko omo ke hale omo nupe eyo sheku efo ni iba ho le fomu pone ke ba ye ekobe ngaya denje ekobe ewo ke ba hin femo eko ni no fifa shika lo keji eji wale ni ke haboe ni lele no ekomeke o be oba anye ni o file shika ko ni mo ka ke hale no ni le denche tawo ni iya ni yahi shi sunna ji na ba ji ye ni ni boni isake afile ni. So finally, so that we touch base on the issue of the Eid prayer, it is preferred that you give out a staple food within your locality, within your community. So if, for instance, if you take Ghana, we eat maize or corn, it's the same thing. Maize or corn is the same thing. We eat gari, we eat rice. So it appears rice is even now the staple food of Ghanaians or most Ghanaians. So these are the things that we usually eat. Of course, you can give it out in wheat, dates, as was done in the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you combine your two hands, and then you get 4 of that. That is the sa what you have to give out on your own behalf. So you do the same for every dependent on you. You know that if you combine your two hands, and you measure 4 of that, you get close to like 1 American thing, or as we call it, olunka, 1 olunka. So that is what you are giving out on your own behalf, and you give same out on every dependent on you. I said even if your wife is pregnant and some few moments or minutes before the performance of the Eid prayer, your wife is delivered of her baby. Let me say of your baby, because the baby belongs to both of you. Your wife is delivered of the baby. It becomes incumbent upon you that when counting your dependents, you include the newborn baby as one of the dependents, and you pay it on that child's behalf as well. So you give it out before you go and say the Eid prayer. The sunnah is that it is a food item that is given out, not money. But contemporary scholars have indicated that in a situation where you are not a farmer, where it could be said that yes, you harvested this food item or this food product from your farm and you are giving it out, but you are going out there to buy it. If it is possible, you could add a little money to it. So you maybe divide it into 2 or 3, half or 2/3 are food items, and then the 1/3 or the half is money to augment whatever the person is going to use that food item for, so that if the person doesn't have anything to prepare the food, it still will be useful to him. Or idele kukufu peji minche ni keji ahima bi nyumai enyoke ne hu lo bi nyumai iten ni asolio ne ke solemone asolio keji hunu eji se ahun ke ashiba fi mletwa akome ni ibashe bi ni akesolio zuru solemon asuma ke dando baya oba jugusul hechumu hejunu wojuo ye Islam oba tawa talene hin ye fel keji oye ojema anuatre kenu jibwe oba aweko jowo anuatre ye Islam ewo menchon perfume lo ojema be onono nchon ewo noe hinji meni bawo be mini ayane be o kamfo nyumbo ahun ke yashi oba ahye ni abasole ni ome imame ni iba ni asole be mini oba ahye ke ko ahye fen na flafi mokobe be pie wa ya 8 grounds ni me ba menfi na flaje da bi na kan nokobe ke yashi abasole agbena ke asole agbena abasole keke abafi hutba wie mo ke chonmo bone eji oti ke ha bo ake oba asole na kan no sane ona de kan no ke tashin no ke boshe wie mo ni imam hie ke ha jama shin be pie mfoni ni wonto wa sha ke yogurt ni wonto wa he woyi ke ni bi ko me ke nyanye me ni pa ko kekpe ni jeme wa afu awo he won mo ke ni bi wo be mi ni imam wie be atishin aya ifata sunna he aka oba afi na kan sunna ji ko ya taje bono kamfo nyumbo o kamfo nyumbo ahun ka shi imam baba ke ka asole ke imam ba ni asole keke ona de kan otashin obo wie mo ke chonmo ni imam yin ke ba oba abotui. So Eid comes or is observed after you have fasted for a period of 29 or 30 days. Before you go to the Eid grounds, it is the sunnah that you perform the ritual bath that is done when you experience any major impurity. So you perform it, and then you look for one of your best dresses to adorn yourself with. If you are a man, you are allowed to use the perfume. If you're a woman, you are not allowed to use the perfume, because that is the Islamic stipulation, that is Islamic injunction. That was what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us. And you praise Allah and go to the place where the prayer will be observed. Now, prior to leaving home to the Eid grounds, and at the Eid grounds, whether it is taking place in an open place or whether it is taking place in the masjid, you don't have to perform any nafila before the Eid prayer is observed. So whilst you are there waiting for the imam, you continue praising Allah until the imam arrives, and the imam will lead you to perform 2 rakats, 2 units of prayers. After that, you use a different route to go home. Unfortunately, alajinla kekwe ni bi mo kweshi bi eji hini eja ke na ke time eshe kwe la se mo ko bi mi ake ani eji oti ake imame ke isole dagbe kan se bi ismi rabbika la ke halata ka hadisu goshi ani ke o e sunna mi shije compose eja ke hadise ko po eni twan ke first raka agbalo kan suratul Qaf ni second raka e kan suratul Qamar no fe no ton bonmo wi suratul Muzammil fakra uma tayassara min al-Qur'an no fe no ni ma mesmo ibanye kan e woje do de kan sebi ke halata ka hadisul goshi ada dabi ila ke ndo ko ija ke time eshe
yo iba mo fano yo adon no ke ni oje we ada fitwa do sani wonye o kai ada fitwa ni yo keji won pa nyifa ya keji wosole juma watan e fe no ba sole juma ye bo mo dia ke ko cha won waji ten o she community